The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade. Welcome to The Unfiltered by Jade, where we educate, empower, and entertain. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, download, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records.
Shopping assistance, your style, your budget. Our services include online and local shopping for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, and helping you find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195 or shoppingassistance2015@gmail.com. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget.
Welcome back to The Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us here Shafel, and she's an events coordinator and an administrative personnel. And we have Yanique Brevett, who is an entrepreneur, career coach, and author. And today we're going to speak about when friendships no longer serve us. And this is such a great topic to have with these two because they have been friends for a long time. Hi, Yanique. Hi, Shafel. How are you?
Hi, Jade. I'm fine.
Hi Jade, I'm doing great.
First of all, I want us to jump into the questions. So, how do you recognize the signs that a friendship is no longer positively impacting your life?
If the person is not in your space, is not that if they're not there, it's not like you really miss them. It's not like, oh, this person, I haven't spoken to this person in a while, or I wonder how this person is doing. So it kind of dwindled away for me.
Okay.
For me, based on my personality, it's really through observing their actions and
Right.
listening to their words. If I am the one who is always putting out effort,
Mm-hmm.
if that person, that friend is always unavailable when I need them the most emotionally, and if I'm the only one, or if they only reach out rather when it is that they want favors, that is how I know that the friendship is no longer positive.
Okay. I want to go back on something that Shafel had said earlier in terms of the person is no longer in a space, etc. But there are many times that we have friends who are living in different places for various reasons. So is it because they are no longer in your space because, everybody has grown up and people are living different places?
It is they're not in my space, but I don't miss them being in my space because I've had
Okay.
friends that have gone away and we still speak every day.
Mm,
And it's not a matter of, oh, who I've known longer, but the value that they bring to you. Or you'll be just there and you're like, oh, this reminds me of this person, and it carries you back to a place. And in speaking to the person, it's like a reminiscence of what used to be, and it's just joy, if you know what I mean. So you're not necessarily because you're not in my space physically means that the friendship has dwindled, because it has been cases where it's been co-workers who have become friends, and with jobs
yeah.
you separate, you go different places. It doesn't change the friendship that we built because you
Hmm.
move.
Okay.
But if it is that there's some co-workers that okay, you thought it was a friendship in some cases, and they move on, and you're like, oh, they move on. That's life. They didn't
Hmm.
add much, or they didn't take away anything from you in moving on.
Okay. Understood. How can we though differentiate between a rough patch in a friendship and a clear indication that it's really time to move on?
For me again,
Hmm.
and let me just put a disclaimer out there. Like, most of any opinion, any recommendation, anything that I'm giving, it's just based on me as a person. It's based
Right.
on my personality. So
Yeah.
somebody who has an opposite personality than I am might not necessarily take my approach. But for me, for this a clear indication for whenever it is that I'm going through a rough patch with a friend, communication is maintained.
Okay.
So we don't, yes, we're upset. We're human beings. We are upset at each other for something, for whatever it is, but it doesn't stop us from checking in. If we usually check in once per week, it doesn't stop us from checking in to say, hey, are you okay? Yes, I am okay. And that is it. So we maintain communication because we know that we value our friendship and we're just going through, as you would say, a rough patch. Um, Clear indication that we should end the friendship. Being with the person is very exhaustive. Even if we are doing little to like low energy stuff, just being with them seems like a bother. It seems like it's the most stressful situation for you. You are, and it goes back to even the first point, you giving more than they are. So you're in the friendship and you're the one who, even though you're having your disagreement, you're the one who's always trying to fix the issue, always trying to communicate. The communication is just one way. You're the only person reaching out. And another point I would say is that they're constantly laboring the issue. So you
Mm.
guys have talked about it. You have come to some agreement, whether opposing views, but you've disagreed. So you've agreed to disagree rather, or you thought you were seeing eye to eye, but that person is constantly bringing it up months after, years after. You're having a conversation about something, whether it's related or unrelated, and they're bringing it up.
Question though, for the first part, what you have described is a parasitic relationship, right? Because one is just feeding off the other, and the other is not benefiting at all.
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, let's say, the scenario that you brought up, not everybody is able to move on from something as quickly as, right? So if it is that the friend is still laboring, is it because they haven't really gotten over it, or they don't know how to get over it, or not? Let's say not get over it, but deal with it and move on.
Right, and I totally get that because as I said, for me based on my personality, I don't hold on to things for a
Right.
long time. Now, before I hold on to it, I prefer to end the relationship with you
Mm.
before I hold on to it. Now, if it is that we are friends, there's an issue, and based on what the issue is, some issues will not be fixed overnight. Some
Right.
issues will take time. Some will take weeks, some will take months, some will take years, depending on what it is. If it has to deal with trust, it's definitely going to take a longer time. But it cannot be that every time we're having a disagreement about something unrelated, you're bringing it up.
True.
Instead of doing that, if we're actively communicating and dealing with the issue at hand. So say for example, maybe this is an extreme, but let's say for example, every Friday at 6 o'clock, we're gonna talk to each other over the phone for 15 minutes, talking about the issue, expressing how we feel about it until it is that we're in a better place. Then I get that. If it is that you value that friendship, and you want to continue that friendship, you're going to put in the effort needed to get the friendship back to where it was, to something positive. And it will not achieve that if you're only bringing up what was done wrong, the issues that you guys are having, only when it is that something else comes up. It's similarly even to your intimate relationship. Something happens. So, for example, you cheated on your partner, right? And you guys decided to work it out, yada yada yada. But every time you guys have an argument, your partner brings it up that you cheated, even if
Hmm.
it is unrelated to the issue.
Hmm.
That is not healthy.
No.
It is not healthy. So it's the same thing with the friendship. If we have agreed that we're gonna go ahead and work on this because we value our friendship and we want this to work, we're taking time out, whatever it is, to fix the problem, sure. But we can't be bringing it up when it is convenient to us to win an argument.
Mm.
I agree with Yanique on most of her points,
Hmm.
but just to add, if the friendship means something to you, you will go the extra mile. Okay, I'm a friend person. I love my friends. If I call you my friend, you're my friend. So if we have a disagreement, or if for some reason we have drifted apart, um as adults, in order, as adults at this point, we're not kids anymore. If it's something that you find important, you will make the time or the effort to fix it. So you can reach out to the person and you can say, well, I realize that, okay, I'm not sure what happened, but we're drifting apart, or this offended me, or whatever. It is now, if you've done your part, it's now on the other person's part to meet you halfway. Because if the friendship is damaged, it's not a one way thing. Both parties involved are going to feel whatever damage it is. If it is valued, once I reach out or once I extend myself, it is now upon you to say whether you're going to meet me. If you're not going to meet me, then why should I go the whole way? Even if it is that I have offended you, it does take two, and as Yanique says, it does take time as well. So you have to want the friendship to work, and you have to work on the friendship together. For me,
Do people though? How do people end friendships? Do we send messages and say, okay, this is we're not gonna be friends anymore, or we just
yeah,
stop
petty
talking?
people who do that and block them and stuff. But yeah,
It's just a petty. How is it petty?
it
It's
is
concluding
petty.
something.
You don't need to block the person to not be friends anymore. People drift. Them come
So I
out
mean,
their
yeah,
life.
but how do you say it? How do you go about doing that? How you
Sometimes
go
you
about
don't
ending
have
it?
to say that the friendship ended. You can see that the friendship ended.
Yeah, but that's not an ending. Just like how after a relationship ends, some people want closure. People also want closure for friendships.
Well, some persons will. Well, I've never done it, but you have persons who have said this is not good for me at this state, and it's best if we're not friends anymore. But to the
Okay.
whole block thing, I don't think the block thing really work out. That's why you block people anyway. That's a me perspective. As Yannick said, I'm speaking from my perspective, and all
Mm-hmm.
my views are mine. I can't say what I feel it is how someone else would interpret the situation. But
Understood.
I don't think blocking a person is going to change anything.
Yeah,
What
but it can do something for them though, because if they need a peace of mind and they don't do that, it can affect them. So people deal with it differently. As I said, that's your perspective and that's fine. But I'm just saying, because you were saying they don't understand why there are people who do block, because it's best for their mental state to do so.
no again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just so. I mean, everybody deals with it differently. But I was just asking because I've never really seen somebody say, "Hey, we can't be friends anymore."
People
I'm
do that.
so that's why I'm asking. How can setting boundaries in friendship contribute to healthier relationships and identify when a friendship is no longer beneficial?
My first point goes back to um, communication. Persons don't people don't read minds, and a lot of us we complain about an issue when we ourselves are the issue,
I see.
because we think people read minds. We expect persons to understand that this is what we want, these are our boundaries, you need to respect them, and when they don't, we get upset, when really and truly we have never verbalized them. And a lot of times we assume that something is normal, it is standard, it is expected, when really and truly it is not. So communicating with to your friends. So even my friends, there are certain things that they'll probably not say to me. There are certain things that they know, if it is that they do say something, or if they share something with me, they know what my reaction will be, right?
Hmm.
Because what I think, and Shafel is on, so Shafel can say it. I believe that throughout the years of friendship, I have clearly communicated the type of person that I am, what I accept and what it is that I don't accept, what are my boundaries. When it is that you are invited in my space, and when you're not invited in my space.
Mm.
And it I want to point out that it is important for us to be explicit with that. And I'm emphasizing this because this is something that happened recently with somebody that I That I know. And when I ask the questions, like, did the person know that you didn't like this? Did the person know that this would offend you? Did the person know that you've had this type of experience before and it was very traumatizing? Did the person know all of that? And the answer was no. But they assume that it was natural for somebody not to do something like that, when for others it's funny. um so it is important to communicate whatever it is that whatever your boundaries are, to explore sorry, to ensure that it's explicit.
Thank you. That's very good.
Oh, and learning how to say no, sorry. Learning how to say no, that is another big one. I think that a lot of times, Shafel, this is for you. In our group, Shafel is the warmth one, the one that is the peace cry, all right?
Hmm.
Because they're your friends, because you love them, because you value them, you value your friendship with them. When they come to you with certain things, certain favors, certain requests, you're afraid to tell them no, because you might, if you say no, you're thinking that they will think that you don't value them, or you are not how you the level at which you see them as friends is not the level they see you. So it's, saying no is a no, so I must say yes.
Right.
But you must know when to say no. And when you say no, your friends must know that it's not coming from a place of hatred. It's not coming from a place of thinking that you're a lesser friend. But it's because I am not able to support you with this right now. Please
Right.
to understand, respect what I say, and let's move on.
Mm, that very strong. Chef?
Listen, you come in like I get a little intervention a while ago. Just like you were waiting. you, you've been waiting for this moment.
Not
Um,
necessarily, but I saw the opportunity to just jump it in. I'm sure you
Arrow.
see a quicker push it in before you start talking.
seize the moment, yeah, and seize the moment. Um, creating boundaries. I believe in creating boundaries as well. Yes, Yanique makes her boundaries known, and probably hers are clearer than mine. I will
Mhm.
accept that fact. But if you treat friendships, because friendships are really relationships with people, right? It's the same take you would have on a relationship. If your friendship is something that you value or you pour into, I've heard them say like a breakup with a best friend is worse than a breakup with a man, because you have confided or you have relied on that person so much that they've become a part of you. And sometimes you've moved from friends to saying that you're family or sisters because of the bond and whatever you've gone through. In creating the boundaries, you also have to learn to understand the persons that you have created these friendships with, and you're gonna know over time, just like how you don't know about your man what is okay, what triggers them, what's not okay. So you have to, as Janika has emphasized, obviously I need to reinforce my boundaries. You have to set those boundaries to let it be known that hey, this is not okay for me. Like within our friend circle, you'll know who will go party. All of us are friends. You'll know which friends, if you're going to a party, who you'd invite, rather than if you're going to the beach, who you're going to invite, or if you want to plan a, a group setting, you know, you'd have to pick something that everybody is okay going, like a games night, rather than saying, okay, for our link up, we're going to go to a party. So it's learning the person and respecting the boundaries.
Is it fair though? Is it fair that you'll lose them if you don't set boundaries?
I don't think if you lose them, then they were your friend.
I'm asking that because then what's the driving force behind not setting boundaries?
I don't. I'm not sure if I'll say it's a matter of what is fair, but it's just what is the right thing to do.
No, we know Yannick, so you set boundaries. We know. I'm asking for Chavel's purpose because you made it
Okay,
clear.
okay, okay.
We
I
know
this
that you're
one out.
setting your boundaries.
Yannick is that you slip your slide and you drop both lick your
We
eggs.
we know this. Okay.
Um, Not, I don't think I don't set boundary. If you, I think my threshold for you would, I'll accept more than other persons before I react.
Okay.
First.
Let me interject a little there.
Yes,
Being
intervention
a
can
friend
be
with
yours.
Shafel for over 20 years,
My God.
Shafel compromises a lot.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that to say that is completely negative, because if you're in an intimate relationship, they always talk about compromising being a key factor of it. And
Hmm.
so, just like she mentioned, that friendship is like an intimate relationship with your boyfriend, your spouse, your husband, whatever. Um, but for me, I mean, I compromise. Maybe this is like one of my weak areas in friendships, but there are just certain things I don't compromise on. They're generally my view on things are black and white. I don't have space for gray areas, because gray areas provide a haven for persons to use you, to
Right.
lie to you, to
Right.
manipulate you. And I don't facilitate that. So it's gray, black or white, not gray. Now, Shafel, I believe, compromises a lot because it goes back to her valuing friendship.
Okay.
But valuing friendship should never be one way. Never be one way. So if the person that you're compromising with value you, the moment you stop compromising and say, hey, I have to put down my foot right here, they should understand.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
I,
Don't worry, Shafel. I know where you're coming from.
And Shafel, I'm not
no,
bashing you, you know.
I understand the
Okay,
complete.
awesome. Because
Come
you know,
on.
every friendship group needs a balance. So we
We know you're the balance keeper. We know.
are.
We know, Yannick. I want to know though if what are the communication strategies that we can help to address issues with friendship before we actually say, you know what, goodbye. We don't know if Yannick have no, you know.
I do though. Despite I have a strong personality, but despite that, um, I do love my friendship, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It has been a journey for me. How I approach things now with my friends were not how I approached things in the past.
Okay.
And so one of the strategy I would I'm throwing out there is recognizing the differences. So
Hmm.
you have a group of friends. So our group of friends, the circle of friends that Shafel and I are in there, it's 9 of us. And honestly, we've been friends from we're in grade 7.
Okay.
And there are times they do things that it upsets me to the point where I want to fight the person. I'm like, how could you do this? Like, or how could you allow this to happen? That sort of a thing. But
Hmm.
as I get older, as I read, I realize the importance of understanding the different personalities
Yes.
within the group, and how it is that their perception of things. So the persons that would do like if a person would normally do something that irritates me, it no longer irritates me, because I know that whenever something like this happens, this is how they react. This is
Okay.
their personality. Not everybody is able to be as strong and aggressive as I am.
Hmm.
Some persons, based on experience or for whatever reason, they're more timid, and
Right.
I have to understand that, and it just means that I am going to have to be the protector for that person. So
Okay.
when they're afraid to say no because of my personality, I'm gonna say no for
I
them.
love you no
So I
way.
think that is something to implement within your friendship groups, or even if it's just two of you, to understand what are the differences. Another thing which is important, which I don't think we do a lot of, and it's listening to each other.
Mm.
So when we talk, I mean, so you'll have link up, whatever, whether it is face to face, online, whatever it is, right? And we're focused on the noise around us, and we're hearing each other, but we're not listening. So we'll ask a question like, how are you? And we don't realize that the person who would usually be chirpy and have a lot to say, when you ask, how are you? They'll say, I'm fine, with a smile. And you
Mm.
don't pick up that there's something
You're
off,
not
there's
okay.
something wrong. You just
Yeah.
accept it as it is and you move on. So if you're constantly listening to them, it is easy for you to pick up something like that. yes, in the group we have different personalities, but the reality is that there are going to be personalities that clash
Yeah.
and they will never get along. They will never compromise, they'll never see eye to eye. And then you're going to have to make a decision, because when this becomes toxic, when this becomes draining on the rest of the group, you don't want to have a group where every time we decide to go out, you have somebody or a group of person sitting in the middle to prevent an argument or to
Right.
prevent a fight, because everybody is focused on that. They're not focused on the memories and spending time together. So when it is that it reaches that point where you have opposing personalities that really just can't see eye to eye for whatever reason, it is time to end that friendship. The struggle right there now is, will it will affect the group,
Mm.
and that is a whole other story.
I don't think there's been a lot of cases where I've had to quote unquote end friendships, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, you would drift apart. And if it is not for you, you will know it is not for you. As Yannick had said earlier, you feel this heavy weight when they're around, or you're just easily annoyed or ticked off or something, which can be a result of underlying issues that has not been resolved.
Right.
But um you'll know when a friendship is over. Just like how you know when a relationship is
Yeah,
over.
but
You know,
when a relationship is over, Sha, because if you want to, if it is that you want to compare a relationship to a friendship, as I said earlier, you won't just drift from a relationship and, well, we know it's over because we drifted. You'd have to
yeah,
say
we
something.
do. We do. Maybe
The
that's
good
why.
side, people do.
We do drift. Speaking
I
for
mean,
my,
but they just drift without saying this is we ending this relationship. We just drift.
maybe that is for another. Let's not get that
Oh,
candid here.
okay. No, I'm just trying to understand it because
I
I know
under
you compared it.
So you can tell when I've never had to say, oh, this friendship is done.
Okay.
But there has been friendships that over time, I guess, as Yannick would have said, you have not have set your boundaries. So the person pushes you to the point where you're like, okay, for my peace of mind or for moving forward, let's just leave it alone. Or as she said earlier as well, if I'm the one that always calling to check in, then if the calls stop going out and and there's none coming in, then obviously that would have drifted, and so there's no need to communicate any further. But if I see you on the road, it's not like I have anything against you or I'd not say hello. But the friendship that we would have had is not what we would have known.
Understood. I want you guys to help listeners to learn how to prioritize their own well-being and happiness when it comes to evaluating friendships.
I think I should get some pointers from Yannick in this regard.
Yannick has good pointers.
All right. So before, I'd actually wanted to chime in on what Shafel was saying before you asked the question. I don't know if we can.
Go back,
Yeah,
go right back.
We
go
can. Okay, okay. All right. So I think Shafel struggles with that question because of lack of experience.
Okay.
And I'm not necessarily talking from a place of, or as someone with a wealth of experience in ending friendships. My friendship number has lesson. I
Yep.
have a friend that I tell very often that I only have 10 friends, and I really only have 10 friends. When I was younger, I had more friends, mainly because I think when we were younger, our definition of friendship was really, if we say hi to each other, we are friends. Over time, we drift apart. So the number decreased because we drift apart. So I didn't end the friendship with them. We just drifted.
Okay.
If we see each other in public now, would we say hi? I'm not sure. I'm
Mm.
not sure. It all goes back to maybe how much we talk when we were younger. So if we're just on a high and by, more than likely I would not initiate the conversation. But if we had a period together where, we had some meaningful conversation, some meaningful experience, some great memories, I would probably say hi.
Okay.
Now, I have a one particular friendship. It was probably the first friendship or the only friendship I have that ended per se, and I wouldn't say that I ended the friendship. The person did something that I am 100% sure they know that it is something that would have ended the friendship. Why? Because I make it known what my boundaries are, what I accept and what I will not accept.
Mhm.
And so to this day, I think we only spoke about what happened only once, because after the person did whatever she did, she blocked me. And that was it. I don't run down people, you block me. That is fine. That is cool. I'm good with that. And I always tell people my cutoff game is very strong. And then about couple years, I don't know if the expectation was for me to message and say what happened, why. I'm not sure, but clearly the person didn't get the closure that she needed, and so she reached out. I said what I had to say, and then it was via email, by the way. And
Perfect.
I said what I had to say, and then she sent another email, and I'm not sure if she's still waiting on a response, but I'm not
Mercy.
going to respond. I say what I had to say only because I knew that you were hunting me down, and I just want to get it out of the way. So they ended the relationship. And at being at the age that I am now, and how much I value the friendships that I have now, I will say this. If the relationship that I have with the persons who I call friends now are no longer serving, I will have to end it. I'm going to tell them.
Okay. Okay.
I am going to be very clear with it. I don't know if it is because we love say we are big woman now, so we say what we want and we pay our own our bills. I don't know if that is the
Mhm.
reason or if it is just maturity.
It's
But whatever
maturity, though.
it is, I know that I will explicitly say that this relationship is no longer serving me, so I'm going to end it.
I think I value that. That's why I was asking, because I mean, in this day and age, we don't want to leave people with wondering, are we still friends or are we not friends? That's why I was
Yeah.
asking about the drifting situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
if it is that you do that, you leave people in a place of, as Yannick said, a gray area. Are we
Mm-hmm.
friends? Are we? Should I still have expectations of you? Should I not? Like, just tell me that we're no longer friends, so we can move on with our lives.
Right. And then and Jade, it goes back to even what I was saying to you earlier, knowing your friends. Now, if you're going to end a friendship with me and you decided to just stop talk to me, I will be fine. Based on my personality, I will be fine. I realize that I'm reaching out to you, you're not responding. I maybe tried reaching out to you a couple times, you're not responding. I probably message another friend to say, hey, you hear from Shafel? Yeah, man, we just talk. And then right there and then I know that there's an issue with me because you're talking
Mhm.
to everybody else. And I leave it at that. And it will not bother me. But for some persons, Jade, it will. Their personality, if it is that a relationship or a friendship ended, it will affect them because they're more maybe in tune to their emotion. They maybe value closure, like all of that stuff. So while I will be okay with it, it might affect them mentally.
When Yannick was talking, it kind of flashed back to something more than one persons have said to me, like, "Me full, everybody is my friend," or "Me full of too much friend," or whatever. When she was saying the definition of friendships has changed from when we were younger to now. Um, it is that it has changed, and that some persons that you thought were your friends there then aren't your friends now. But it also is that you, as you go along in life, you meet persons who add value. And as Yannick, not everybody is okay. Okay, I have this amount of friends, and this is enough or whatever. I am okay opening up to meeting new person, but I'm okay with meeting new people. And if you add value to my life, I don't see why I cannot return the favor. And not everybody you come in contact with will, but for the few that does add value, or the few that you see, okay, there is nothing wrong with having this person or keeping a connection with this person in your life. If it's something that a one text or a two text every now and then for just say, hey, you're good, I would still consider you a friend for
But they're
me.
not your friends though, you're your acquaintances.
Um,
Because that's what it is. If it's like we're
and
acquaintances,
then people
acquaintances
don't
and
walk
a one or
around
two
and
message.
say, oh, that's my acquaintance.
I do. I do shuffle. In this stage of my life, I am first of all, I
I
don't
don't
do one bag of friends. I don't do that at all
and
because
and that is you, and
no,
I
hold on,
don't
now,
think
hold on, now.
this
And,
is in
and
your
what I'm
life.
saying is, and that's fine. But what I'm saying is, if a friendship have some concreteness to it, because we'll always remember there's reasons and seasons. So even if you meet someone and they're good for you and they help you in this season, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're your bona fide friends. They were there for
I
you, or you were there for them, and you were good in that season. But it
but it
doesn't
does
necessarily mean that it's a lifelong friendship that we're about to start.
but we didn't define if it was lifelong friendships. We said friendships. So how are you
I
going to
I
mean,
say,
think while
okay,
there is a definition for lifelong friendship, I don't think it is something you set out to do at the beginning of
no,
the relationship.
right?
but then you find persons that you've built something with, and in the random check-ins or the random hellos, you're not gonna talk every day. Just like we have friends that we don't talk every day, but there's still someone that you have considered a friend. And because it also, I think, happens when you go in different circles and socialize with different persons. So you will socialize with a certain set of persons from work, and then you have church, and then you have one little group here. So then you have school where you go and you form and you build these bonds with persons. If it is that those bonds that you build, something within it is something to value or treasure, I believe, my belief again, that you nurture it. And it's it's not going to be, Yannick is not going to have the same friend circles or amount of persons that she would have considered friends based on her definition, but based on what I see or what I consider a friend to be, I would have been. People will say, "More have one heap of friend," but I'm not really open to a lot of persons. If it kind of sound like a circle, but I'm open if you're adding value to me, and there are persons that add value to you as you go along in life. That you're like, okay, this is somebody I want to keep, rather than close it off at, okay, these persons are it, and this is my friends, and this is who it is, and blah blah blah. If you understand what I'm saying.
So let me, Jade.
Go
So
ahead
let
there,
me this segue into the question that you asked before we went back
please.
about prioritizing your well-being. So I mean that is Shafel.
Yeah.
Shafel approach to building those types of relationships are not necessarily my approach.
Right.
For me, I think that whenever it is that persons do something good for us, provide us with an opportunity, probably do a favor, we feel as if we owe them something.
Mm-hmm.
And because they provided this opportunity to us, we are friends. And
Um.
what we need to understand is that in life, we are not achieving anything at all by ourselves. And therefore, persons are going to come in our lives to support us with our goals, whatever it is that we want to achieve. Their presence in our life is not always permanent. They're just there for a season to support us through whatever it is that we're going through, provide whatever opportunities, give whatever guidance, and that is it. Now, if it is that they've served their purpose and you guys don't communicate as frequently as you were when they were supporting you, that is also fine. if the next year you see each other, you can, say hi, have a little small chat. You guys are not friends, but it doesn't mean because you didn't maintain the communication you were maintaining during the opportune time means that you're no longer friends and they were only using you. And no, that is not how I look at it. And so I will forever say I have 10 friends. Is it that only these 10 friends are the only persons that support me and that help me and that guide me? No. But my definition of friendship is probably different from what other person's definition of friendship is. I appreciate that you support me, and however way I can support you on your journey, I will, but that does not mean we are friends.
Mm.
We need to learn and understand that we cannot stretch ourselves and we cannot be there for everybody. I value my friendships and I want whenever my 10 friends need me, I can be there for them. If I have 50 or 100 persons that I'm going to call friends, listen, sometimes I can hardly show up for myself. I cannot be there for 50 persons. I am sorry. And so you have to ensure that you understand the benefits of relationships and understand the benefits of friendships. And you lean, and this is another point that I want to share in answering that question. In understanding the benefits of friendship, I think that a lot of us say, me and your friend, man. And in all the good time, when you go party together, and you go out to drinks, and you go out to dinner, and you skin teeth, and you laugh, and you're at your happiest. But then, whenever it is that you're at your lowest, you forget that you have a friend. You want to keep it, you want to go through what you're going through by yourself, and you're forgetting the other benefits of friendships. The friends are not just there to enjoy the good times with you and to have a laugh or to trouble somebody with you. But they're there to go through every motions in life with you, good or bad, up or down.
I agree with your point, Yanique.
But
Um,
is there a but? I don't know. You started talking like there's a but.
I
But
I agree with your point, Yannick, to a great extent. My only thing is, not every, maybe this word friendship I use too loosely.
Yeah, it's very,
I
very loose.
agree. Listen,
Very,
I
very loose.
agree. I think we should
Ah,
restart the podcast and define friendship.
start by defining the word. Can we go back and
Now, friendship is
define the
very
word?
loose. I using it, Shafel.
I don't, I'm using it loosely. I think probably my value on persons or how I see persons is how I deal with persons. So not unnecessary in most cases, how I treat persons is not necessarily what is reciprocated. So not because I've been a friend to you mean you're going to be that friend to me. And in life, it's not every time. I know we'd want it to be that way that, okay, you're only my friend because when I need you, you're there for me. But in some cases, maybe I'm kind of weird, but I think God puts us in person's life for a reason. I'm probably him put me upon the earth just to be everybody friend.
No,
But
I'm sure he did not do that.
but what I'm saying is sometimes you're placed in person's life to pour into them. And not every case.
They're not your friends. You're just
I
there to help them through a
understand persons
situation.
being here for us. I think it's going to turn into a whole nother thing. But I understand persons being in your life for a season or reason. I believe it 100%. But again, you're it's a you thing. So it's a me thing. And probably that is why I'm guarded in certain aspects of my life, relationships, personal relationships.
Shafel,
But
let me tell you something.
but
You don't trust people easily, Shafel. You have friends and you have them on the surface. You have a lot of friends that you have surface wise.
I will agree with that as well.
And that is why you have so many. Because you
Really?
don't go in depth with too many of
No,
them.
I think I'll go in depth with I don't know.
Shafel,
I think maybe this was a psych evaluation for me and I'm gonna use it as a podcast.
But look how I'm here thinking that, and I'm like, okay, I think this is the counseling that Shaf needs.
think I'm learning stuff from this conversation.
Yes,
I
please,
think
Shafel.
I'm getting some gems that I really need to apply, probably need to apply. But I know there are persons out there like me. I'm not alone, I'm
No,
sure.
you're not alone. You're not alone. And the thing is,
So I think what we need to probably do is redefine this word friendship and to understand that everybody has their own definition of what the word means to them and appreciate that. Remember your boundaries where you say, like my boundary is me call everybody friend and Yanique
that's
as
not a
my friend
boundary. That's not a
accept.
boundary, actually. You're in person's life to encourage them. You don't need to be their friends to encourage people. You are going to be on this podcast talking to people, encouraging them. You're not their friends.
Let me share something with you, right? Oh, I'm sharing just to put things in perspective. So I know this particular person, right? That I've been supporting with guidance in entrepreneurship, right? And I've just been providing him with information as to what to do, all of that stuff, like a how to guide thing. Everything you would message me to bounce off ideas and stuff to the point where we're talking every day, right? After he kickstarted everything, he has his platform, he started the business, everything. The conversation, the communication rather between us decreased. We're not talking every day anymore because I would have already shared my expertise with him and everything. And we didn't talk for like a couple weeks. And he reached out to me and was asking me if I was okay and yada yada yada. And I said, yeah, man, I'm good. And he said to me that he has really been trying to think of a way of giving back to me. And I said, giving back to me for what? And he was saying that without my guidance and support and giving him direction and blah 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 blah, he wouldn't have been here. And he just really wanted to show his appreciation to me. And listen, I was baffled, because honestly, I'm naturally that type of a person. If you come to me and ask me something about, well, unless it's personal, but business wise, if you want guidance on anything regarding business, I'm an open book. Once I have the time, I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to spill everything to you. Because I'm not trying to do this. It's not. I don't want to be the only one achieving things. I want everybody to be winning. So I'm an open book when it comes down to that. And I never ever did it because I was expecting friendship, anything in return. I wasn't doing it because I was expecting him to give me a shout out or nothing. I was just doing it. So I had zero expectations from him. And so when he said that he wanted to, do something to show his appreciation, I said that is really okay. You don't have to do that. And then he said to me that, that's not how friends treat each other. And I'm like,
Mm,
but we are not friends. I mean, he didn't respond. He just said, okay. I don't know if he felt away after that. I mean, I was rushing into a meeting, so I couldn't really ask.
right.
But the reality is that we are not friends. I was just, for whatever reason, he reached out to me on Instagram and we started talking and I was sharing till we exchanged numbers because it was easier and we started having the conversations.
Right.
Everything, all our communication was around the business aspect of it. So I believe that I was brought into his life at that point in his life to support him in starting a business that he has been struggling to start for years.
Mhm.
And that is it. So I think you need to also look at it like that, Shafel, because the reality is that I think this is part of why we have a lot of mental health issue. We're
Yep.
trying to be the friend for everybody. We cannot serve everybody. We
Nope.
cannot. Sometimes we can hardly serve ourselves. I can attest to that. Sometimes it's really hard to show up for myself. So imagine having to show up for everybody that you come across or feel obligated to serve everybody that you come across because you want to be a good human being.
True.
So
True.
that is where setting your boundaries starts. So you serve your purpose, you help all you can, you give the information you can, and then you move on. If you can't support, you say no, and you say no from a good place.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Yep.
that is something I'm learning regarding the no. I mean, I could easily tell no to people that don't mean much to me, but
Mm-hmm.
like persons close to me, I had to learn to say no. And how I started learning to say no was to say no and give an alternative.
Okay.
So
Okay.
no, I can't support with this. However, try this.
Okay. So they don't feel rejected.
Right.
So before we go, I want you guys to just encourage our listeners, those who are struggling with deciding if they should let a friendship go or keep a friendship or talk it out. Just encourage the listeners on what to do
I mean,
regarding
I've
friendship.
had some bad experiences with persons that I thought were my friends, to be very honest.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some. Sometimes it's best to let it go, and I think time heals a lot. And in talking more, probably I need to redefine my friend word, but I still think there are persons who have been considered my friend. But I think time heals a lot, and if it's not for you, you'll drift apart. I know it sounds weird, but it has been what has happened in most cases in my uncertainty of friends, or if it is that it is something that I should hold there or something that I should let go. Over time, it drifts apart. Over time is either it gets better or you just don't hear from them anymore, or you don't see the need to reach out to them anymore. It doesn't change that that person at a specific time in your life was good to you or meant something to you, but at this point, no.
Wise words, Yannick.
Before I do, I'm not rebutting what Shafel said,
Mm-hmm.
but I really want to say this because this was a conversation, like a very deep conversation that I had with somebody the other day. And she's mentioned time heals. And I said to them, for me, time doesn't heal. I just believe that with time, we learn how to cope.
Ah.
That is just what I believe, because from where I grew up, we hear time heals, right? And there are things that have happened to me when I was younger that I still, when I look back at it, I'm still remember, like, there are little things that happen throughout the day that reminds me of that thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I still get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't healed, but I'm coping. So I'm not gonna break down if I see something that reminds me of it. I'm not gonna break down and this whole excitement. I'm not. But I have developed some coping mechanism that is helping me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to persons who have even, for example, lost a loved one, they haven't healed from
No.
the hurt, from the pain of losing that person. They're just coping.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, yes, when somebody dies, we all cry and whatever, whatever. But unless the person was really close to you, everybody else have moved on. That is
Mm.
just the reality of it. Everybody else is living their life.
Yep.
You're the only one who is really feeling the loss. So I think we develop coping mechanism, whatever that is not necessarily heal. All right, so not to labor that point.
Mm-hmm.
To the listeners, guys, for me, right? I had to learn the importance of knowing who my friends are.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we think that somebody's our friend because we had a conversation with them. We probably were in the same class for a semester.
Mm-hmm.
We probably work in the same unit and we talk every day, and that makes us friends. And so I think that we should all sit down and define what friendship is to you. Whatever it is to you, you need to define what that is. You need to know and you need to understand that what that is. So when you see persons coming to you to build relationship based on what your definition is, you can say, okay, based on what this person is coming with, is this a friendship or just somebody who is here in my life for a season?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Um, really learn how to say no to your family and to your friends especially. And I say that because for a lot of person, those are the hardest no's because you feel as if you're disappointing people.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you need to understand that you come first.
Yeah.
So whatever is going to give you peace, whatever is going to give you joy, whatever is going to make you smile, that is what you do. And if a friendship is no longer serving, you need to leave. And it is okay, because not everybody is in your life to stay forever.
Right.
Whether it is through debt or you ending that relationship.
And the thing is, sometimes it's important to know that we don't move on. We move along with our lives. Or
Correct.
right. So sometimes people will say,
Correct.
"Oh, let us move on." No, we don't move on from it, but we moved along with our life because life still it still goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. It really still it really still goes on. And funny enough, it took a debt experience for me to understand that. So somebody I knew lost a parent, right? And I mean, it was during that period I realized that, hey, what, when we were younger, our parents were the ones losing their parents.
Oh, believe you.
We are now of age when we are the
Yep.
parent losing our parent, right? And that was a wake up call for me. And persons came and visit and said hi and sit and talk and whatever, and was there consoling her. And then after the funeral, everybody just went back to
Yep.
life as normal. Nobody called to check in. Nobody called to deliver food to see how you're doing. It's as if they expect that once you bury the person, all the pain and the grief will disappear and you have to move on with your life.
Yeah. You
No,
have
yes, she's showing up. You're seeing her in public. She's doing her thing, but she hasn't moved on. She just have to move along because the world is not gonna stop and
yep.
wait for her.
And that's just a part of life. And the trick of the problem is even with the friendships, sometimes cutting off, we don't want to cut off because we don't want to offend, but sometimes we have to cut
Hmm.
off because remember the same people that we don't want to cut off, that's not serving us any purpose, will move on with their lives. They're moving
Yeah.
along whether you're there or not. So the importance of prioritizing yourself and loving yourself enough to say, you know what, this does not benefit me anymore. I'm gonna have to leave this alone. It's important. It's vital for us to do that.
I don't know if you guys ever had this experience, or I don't know, like when you're younger and your parents used to send you to shop. If they used to send you to shop, right? And the shopkeeper would have up a sign to say, basically they say no credit
Mm-hmm.
and we not trust nothing. Better you vex than me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's what you apply to your friendship.
Yep.
That is what you apply to it. There's some persons who are toxic. There's just some persons in your life that all they do is take, and you just need to know when to cut that off.
Right. Right. Agreed. So while we continue defining friendship for people, tell us where is it that we can find you too, please.
All right, so I am on LinkedIn and Instagram as Yanique Brevett.
Mhm.
And my business page is also on Instagram as the YSB Creations. That's the name of my career coaching business.
Woo!
Woo!
Shaf?
Um, you can find me at home.
Oh God, I'm over this.
You can
Shafel, I
find
was
me
not
at
ready for that one.
We're gonna end this right here. So thank you so much to
You're
my listeners.
welcome.
And thank you so much to my two guests, Shafel and Yanique. I really appreciate you guys being on the podcast.
You're
You are
welcome. I
welcome.
learned a lot today. I learned
Mission accomplished.
I
Mission
learned
accomplished.
Thank you so much. And thank you to our listeners for listening to The Unfiltered by Jade. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you.